Now, Dr. Lisa, I do have a question for you. As someone
Mhm.
who's also in the creator space, do you, in your opinion, do you feel like it is a faster track to addiction for creators since we have to be on social media to push our
Mhm.
content, like talk on Twitter, put it on Instagram, do short videos for TikTok? Do you think that's a faster gateway for those addictions, or should they try to navigate it and manage how much time they are on those? Because we're, well, at least for me, we're always told, you know, you got to be on there pushing your content, push it, post. So you're usually on there, you know, 24/7 for the most part, pushing your content. So I'm just curious from your perspective as somebody that's also, you know, doing the same thing. Do you
Mhm.
see a workaround for it, or is there some avenues people could possibly go as far as trying to mitigate that fast, well, in my eyes, a fast track to addiction?
Well, yeah, because I know for me, so I started my podcast a year ago, and I was pretty much on the same thing. Okay, I need to put out content, have to be consistent, have to do whatever, blah, 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 blah. So this past August, I took 3 weeks off. I did not post anything live. I had stuff that I posted, and my producer, he aired it, but I needed to take a break. And I think if you don't take a break, and everyone knows their own personality and things of that nature. So, say for instance, if you are working 24 hours a day and you're not spending time with your family, you're not taking care of your health, you're not going to the doctor, you're not getting those exams, you can be a workaholic. And what that means is you are essentially overlooking certain things in your life as a result of your job, which is social media. Because that social media component in and of itself can be addictive. So, how do you put, I guess, a barrier around that? Is okay, so on Saturday, I'm going to work from 9 a.m. 4 p.m., and then I'm done. Now, if you have a problem with that internally and you feel like, oh my God, then you may have to check yourself, and then you have to ask yourself, how much time have I spent on my physical body? When was the last time I went to the doctor? Do I have to go to the doctor? When was the last time I went to the dentist? Am I always putting the social media stuff ahead of my health? Because oftentimes people do that. And I tell people what you focus on will grow. If you focus on social media all the time, that's what will grow. But then you're going to be deficit in other areas of your life. So I think it is important to take those breaks from social media. If you have a team, give it to someone else, or something like that. But it's hard because will you lose subscribers? Because sometimes I lose subscribers, and then I say to myself, as a way to center myself, I say, okay, well, you know what? They weren't meant for me anyway, and there was more to come.
Mm.
So I have to do some self talk. I have to take a break. I have to, and I cannot be on 24/7. I'm married. I have 4 children. I have a business. Something's going to suffer. And I refuse for it to be my marriage, my family.
Mm.
So, yeah. So, how are
Good,
you?
good.
Like, how do you handle? Are you on literally like 24/7? Like, when you wake up, is that the first thing that you do? Like, reach for
No, not at
or
all.
do? Oh, okay.
Not at all. I just have, I have friends in the creator space that when we probably all got in around the same time, and so it's just one of those things that you always hear when you're in the creator space. It's like, hey, if you want to grow, you got to be consistent, you got to do this, you got to do X, Y, and Z. You know, listening to your peers, and so when you're talking, when you're hearing that social media, you know, has that effect on your mental health, it just made me think, it's like, well, I mean, you're basically fast tracking yourself to those issues because you're trying to push your content to help yourself grow. And so it was just something I'd like to ask as from someone who's in the space and who's basically certified to to talk about these things. So it's just refreshing to really hear that from somebody who's doing the same thing, but also knows how to take breaks because you know the grind is 24/7 basically. It is when you're in that space, it's 24/7. You're either on the you're either at the head of the pack or you're behind, and a lot of people don't ever want to be behind because then you're not growing. Essentially, there's people out there doing it first or doing it better than so it's just really interesting just looking at it from a different perspective, or hearing it from a different perspective, excuse me.
And it's so interesting because prior to me getting in, doing the podcast and things of that nature, I didn't really think about it being it's hard work.
Yeah.
It's hard work because for me, I have to research sometimes the material that I'm, disseminating. I have to figure out, okay, what am I going to wear? What am I going to say? Is the house going to be quiet? Do I have to do this? I have to do all these little things. I have to get the right camera. I have to get the right lighting. It's like, oh my gosh, this is, this is oh my goodness. Now, growing up, we didn't have that.
Right.
We didn't experience that. I'm trying to think.